Okay, everybody, I'm back. Welcome to episode 3. Let's get started and see what we can get into tonight. Now, the sun is just setting. That's the moon down there. So this is moonrise. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to go over a few quick things, and then we're going to actually move out of town here. I'm going to start the navigation series of videos. If you press P on your keyboard, you can see all the other players online. I know where one of them was at. He was actually shooting at zombies in Electro, so he probably will be dead pretty soon. Shift and Tab. I looked at the overlay problem, and it seems to be down. I don't know if it moved, and I can't get it back. But you can set your web browser up, so in-game you can go and bring up a player's map. Some of the players have made some nice maps marking all the well locations, helicopter spawn points and stuff like that you can take a look at. So anything you might need, there's on Dayz Wiki there was a lot of all the information you need on every gun, every pistol, every scope. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on map here. We're going to see that we're in Cherno right now where it says Survivor. Now the reason I brought you to a different server is this is there's a few things different. We're in the rocks down here. These symbols, black symbols, are rocks. We still have the same red cursor with a small red line to show you which way you're facing, and the helpful hint, I am here, so you can see it a lot easier. And we're on the south coast. There's a mission going on right here where they set up a perimeter, so there's AI guarding that. There's an evacuation helicopter up here, and then these one is tagged yellow, so it's an easier mission than the red one. There's a northern zone that they've added, and what it is it's just a POI, point of interest. They added an entire city to Guba Bay. There's a base at Novi Lug. Those are not missions, those are just points of interest. Volksburg down here on the coast, which I've never been to before, that's new, and West Kamenka is new, I've never been there before, that they've added to the map. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in here, and I want to show you a little trick. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When you zoom in on these towns, you'll see in gray are all the buildings, and this is how to use your map. These blue areas are not vehicle spawns, they just happen to be a bus stop on the road. Why they decided to mark them, I don't know. It just helps you tell you where you're at. But when you zoom in, you'll be able to see the different buildings. You'll see light gray and dark gray. There'll be big long fences. The railroad tracks are here in red. You can see where they come in. They have 1 or 2 railroad tracks coming in together. Then they split into 4, and then they go back into 1. So if you're standing on 2 railroad tracks, you should know which side of town you're on. But if you scan this map, bring it up while you're in game, when you get to a safe place, I'm down in rocks, and you look very closely, you can see here there's a dark gray rectangle, then there's a light gray house, 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 house. But at the end of these 2 streets, the yellow is paved, the lighter yellow or tan is a dirt road. But if you look right here above my cursor, and I'm going to put my cursor right on there, then move it away, you might not be able to see it on YouTube, but you'll be able to see it in game. There's a perfect dark gray square, perfectly square, sides are even. That is a freshwater well, and you got to really scour for that. Also, you'll be able to see the outlines of fencing in here. Up in here, there's fencing, there's different smokestacks, and you can help identify where you're at and where you're going. You can see on the red cursor here, I'm facing due north. And you can also see on the compass I'm facing due north at 000. Okay, So I just wanted to show you those real quick. And of course, as I said, P will tell you how many players are online, so you know if you can ask some players. And feel free to ask on any of this stuff. On the right hand side on the rocks, you'll see we have the same indicators on the bottom right, your temperature, water, food, and your blood count. But up on the upper right hand side, you see my frames per second is 44. There's an ear sign and an eye sign. That's for how visible you are to other players in AI and zombies and how loud you are. So I got one trick to show you. It's getting pretty dark. We're going to get in here to our video by hitting escape of video options. And we're going to turn the brightness and the gamma up. You can see how bright it can get. And I'm going to turn it up a little too high because when it's okay for me to see, it's hard for you to see. You can see the lights on in the house. There's one little thing, well, a couple things I want to show you. Let me change my speed here. We're going to run into Cherno and then we're going to run north. But that is the moon rising. Just as you have a sunrise and a sunset, you have a moonrise and a moonset. And one thing we're going to do is we're going to put our cursor right on the moon. I can bring up the map. I can zoom in on the map. And I can find out that I'm facing this direction by which way the cursor is pointing. And I know that 000 is north, 090 is east, 180 is south, and then 270 is over here. You'll get used to that. So this is about a 45-degree angle down here, so it's facing about 135. Just add 180 to that and find the opposite to it if you want to go in the exact opposite direction. But it's generally south. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move. It's a little hard to see because they got these green letters here. I'm going to move till I am facing south, and I can do that real easily. You can do it on your map, but I'm going to just make it a little easier for you to show you, and the compass illuminates at night. This is dead south, 180. So it's important that I know where dead south is, or the general south. But what's most important is I need to turn and face north. So we're going to use the map or the compass, and we're going to face north. Then what I want you to do is go over on your number pad, and you're going to use your mirror, what I call your side view mirrors. Number pad 7, 9, 4, 6, 1, 3 to look behind you. And the reason this is important is we're looking for the moon. When I look over my left shoulder, I cannot see the moon when I'm facing dead north. When I look back this way, the moon is above me, but it's over my right shoulder. Remember this right here, because I plan on running north at night. All I have to do is, whenever I get a little lost, a little off track, I get into a fight with zombies, keep the moon over your right shoulder. The next time you log in, it may be a different time. That could change. It's usually over my left shoulder. So now when I look back on the 1 and 2 keys, I know I'm not running north. I've got to move my character back into a line to where when I look over my right shoulder, be number 3 on the keyboard, that moon, that I can see the moon. Then you'll know how close you are to sunrise when the moon stays at the same height on the horizon all night long. It'll rise, and then it will hover in the air, hover on the horizon at a certain height or certain azimuth. Then it will start to drop. When that starts to drop, you're about a half hour, 45 minutes away from sunrise. So you know whether to stay online or not. So there's a lot of guys online. And there's a lot of Russians online too, and I'm not sure if this is a Russian soldier or a Russian server. And I have no problem playing with the Russians. Some of them are my good friends. But you also have to be a little careful, because the one thing you learn real quick is they don't take any crap. They play hard. There's nothing. They don't take the easy approach to anything. So you got to be careful, because if you're on a player versus player server, they will let you know real quick they come to play, and that's what actually we all appreciate about them. They will give you some great gameplay. So there's a tent right here at the store. There's a store on the west side of Cherno. I'm going to take that tent. I got a lot of food, matches, and everything on me. So just as you do in any other time, gear check, gear check, gear check. I just have a bison on me. That's all I'm going to need. I have my fishing pole. I have my axe. I have my knife, matches, axe. And I have plenty of drink. And I have extra bandages. And I have my water bottle. So with the knife, axe, matches, water bottle, that's all I need. I could drop everything else, and I happen to have antibiotics on me and one morphine. But I could drop everything else and just take off. But you have to have those 4 things. There's another tent. And a special side note here. I want to take this little soda with me. Special side note. Every server is like it's ice cream. It's the best way to describe it. Dayz is vanilla ice cream. That's not why they called it Dayz vanilla, I'm sure, but it's like vanilla ice cream. Every server is a different flavor based on that good stuff. You have to have vanilla to get started when they first made ice cream. So don't be afraid to try out different servers, because there's going to be different flavors. And this should help you out jumping around to servers and different servers. We've been to servers already where the zombies the aggression level on them is turned way down. And that's because they're still setting up the server, and it helps admin out to turn the aggression level down. And these guys are turned up a little bit. I was running up to them on other servers, and I couldn't even get a response on them. They were so low. So there's your hospital and everything. So we don't want to get caught here getting into a corner with these guys. I need to find a line. These guys are a little quicker in their side-to-side action, so you got to be really fast. And I even found myself having to be fast. These are either lit or you can light them when you're in town. Other players are going to see you. That's the give and take you have to have for getting warm. And you can also, if you have raw meat, you can put out this fire if other players are around and you don't want them to see you and you're sort of covering yourself. You can light them and just come back to them for a few minutes each time. And you can cook food on them, and we discussed that before. So I need to find a place. I'm trying to think of where I can do this. I want to stay out of the main center of town. I actually wish I was on the airfield right now, because they have the lines on the road, which I need to show you something. So we'll head over to the main road here. We need to find, it just makes it easier on you if I can find a straight line. So we're going to start into some navigation on here, some tips and some tricks. And just like an onion, we're going to peel back layers, and we're going to get better and better at it. Oh, I know. I'll head over to this building here. This should be real easy, because there's other players on here, and I don't want to be shot. They don't know I'm making a video. And like I say, the Russians come to play hard. So we're inside one of these buildings, and here's something I want to show you. And these 3 poles will work for me. There's a walk I do. It's very powerful. Very, I wouldn't say it's easy to learn. You have to practice it. But it can benefit you 100 different ways. Here's what I want you to do. After you get your keys set up for laying down, crouching, standing, go back to crouch. And what I want you to practice is find a painted line on the edge of the road or something, edge of a dirt road, just any straight line, and we're going to use these 3 poles. You want to press W. This is its speed, which I have my pinky on the shift key. We're going to turn around. This is slow, and what I want you to do is walk in a straight line and be able to spin your character around like this, and I need practice, so they're in a straight line. We'll practice again. We'll go up with W, and while we have W pressed down, we're going to press A, let go of W, we're going to hit S, and then D and S at the same time. So once you practice that, it's kind of, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. W. Whoop. Let me start back at the beginning here. W. W A. A. A S. A D. D W. Try to get in a straight line as much as you can to where it's just second nature. That way you can come down here and watch your back and be able to move along a wall and cover not only yourself but a friend. If you're walking in a group of 2, somebody covers the back. If you're walking in a group of 3, you don't want to be pointing your gun at your friend's back because there's accidental misfires and everything. So the lead person will point ahead, the middle person will be walking like this. You have to be able to negotiate around these poles without getting stuck. That helps you from getting stuck. So you can come down here, you can protect your shoulder, move down, protect your back and your shoulder, and you're not stepping out. You're not stepping out from cover. It's very important to cover. So that's, I used to call it the dip walk, D-I-P, the dual inline something or other, I can't remember. So practicing with your left hand like that leaves your right hand free. And I have left mouse, right mouse, middle mouse, and 4 more programmable keys on there. So that gives my right hand the ability to do a bunch of different things. I can still do 5 or 6 things with macro keys, and then I have a line of 6 up the left hand side. So that's all we need to get moving. I kind of wish there was more zombies. We're just going to jog up the street, but I'm going to hit the 3 button to see where that moon is at, and I can tell it's not over my left shoulder, so we're not headed north. So if I move in this direction and hit 3, now we're headed due north. Pretty good north. Yep, look at the compass. Dead north. Been within about a half a degree. Now, he already spotted me that quick. They both did. Now, we're, another quick word about zombies here. Swing early. Try to keep him off guard. Oh, you got to get that second swing in. That's what that extra half second is going to get you. Let me see what he gave me. I hate when they automatically give you stuff. So this looks like it's going to be a very bright night. Let's see here. Hopefully you can see that. It's still pretty good. There, that should be better for you. Let me get out of the open a little bit more. when you're navigating north, besides all these roads leading north, you'll be able to find landmarks. The green areas are woods, the white are out in the open, a little bit open fields. At nighttime, you can stick to the open fields. And what we're doing is we're going right up here. There's a road between the Balata airfield that sort of runs along the beach, mimics the beach. So here you have the shore road, but you also have an inland road. These are nice, safe areas to navigate if you don't feel like you want to run down on the beach with everybody else. So in order not to get lost, you got to stick in between these two roads. And that's why I say it's best to stick in the same town for 2 or 3 days before you venture out. Make sure you got your gear saved up. Make sure you got some kind of meds. And stick to the left-hand side of the map where more stuff can, you have more ambient light. Now I mentioned in the videos before the new version of this, which has, it's either codenamed Starry Night or Bright Nights or something, which is an addition that they came out with. And I'm not sure if this is it or not, because usually at night when you turn your gamma up, all you have is the black and white sepia tones, but now it's in color. So you can see the inner shore road, which is, I provide nicknames for everything. It really helps on your memory. Inner shore road, and this is the road north. I actually like to put a stash in and around any one of these bushes at the T. That way, the next time you die and you spawn in, you don't need to loot through that whole entire town. Just come to your stash, grab the stuff, and go. Now, since the road is light gray, you can follow this road easier at night. And I actually wish it was a little bit darker. We'll make this run 100 times over. Same run. We'll be running north in these videos for to the Northwest Airfield and back to missions when I get killed. Many, many times over. It's an art form. It's something you definitely need to learn. There's a little shed up there. If you listen to your feet, even if it's pitch black, you can tell the difference of where you're at, whether you're on the road or not, or in the gravel. So next time, you'll have a little bit more information with you. Now you notice we're running on the road, but I want to show you this. That's one of the easiest things to see at night is the electrical wires, because they're in the sky and the sky is all bright. So on the blackest of nights, I can look up and all I know is to follow the electrical wires or follow the road. And I know I'm on the right road to Kozlovka if I'm running in between the road that has the electrical wires on the right hand side. Excuse me. And we've seen the substation down there. Now back to the transmission lines. When you look on your map, you'll see all these roads. They're going in different directions. They'll connect all these towns. So there's not much you can see here, but if you look down here, they're going to have transmission lines from every single town, and they're going to group up. This comes from this substation. This comes from the main power plant. Runs up here. This is an offshoot. Comes up here and splits. This triangle. That's because it meets up with other transmission lines that are going northwest of Kozlovka, right here, one of my favorite towns. But if we zoom back in, the other ones go to the right, go to the right, go to the right, and where they end up? But at the power plant in Electro. So if you don't want to get shot on the beach, follow the power lines. This is a double set of power lines that run from Electro. over to Cherno, and then there's a set that breaks off and runs north. And it's just, if you think about it and don't get too upset about getting lost on here, all power lines have to go somewhere because all they're doing is feeding the next town. You'll never have power lines going out into the middle of nowhere. Sooner or later, all roads lead to a town, and all main roads, and all transmission lines are just sending transmission to the next town that needs it. Got a little shed there. So you don't have to run right on top of these roads. You can always run off to the side a little bit, which I tend to do because every once in a while you'll hear a rumble behind you, and it would be two guys in a car going back to their base. And they might just decide to either hit you with a car or shoot you for sport. So I kind of like to stay away from everybody till I know what I'm dealing with. So we got to go back over here. The server's going to restart in 5 minutes. We're following the double set of transmission lines that are right beside the roadway. So when I look on the map and I came out of Cherno, there's no question where I'm at. Even if it was pitch black and raining as hard as it possibly could, all I'd need to go up and do is see a glimpse of two of these power lines. And if I don't see the power lines, all I need to do is go from pole to pole. You only need to see about 200 meters, so you can cut your vision all the way back. As far as what details come in on your screen, I'll talk to you more about that later on. But cutting back your distance view and how sharp things are, taking shadows out on the game can, some of those have a heavy drag on your video card. So taking out those extras and knocking everything back to the basic, and then start turning up each individual item, anti-aliasing, anti-stropic, filtering, and all that stuff, until you get to the point where you're bouncing. You want to keep it up to about 25 or 30 if you can. Now that was a dirt road. You just got to keep track. I'm sticking to the double power lines, and I'm sticking to the roadway. And there is one little sneaky thing you can do here. As long as I can wander back and forth here 500 meters to my left or right. As long as I keep track of where these transmission lines are, because I took time to study the map. But when you're coming up here at night and you really don't want to be bothered, and you can make this entire run without any food and water, and we're going to do that later on in a future video. For a long time I had people tell me it couldn't be done, but on board days I would take off running, no map, no compass, no GPS, and I would just try running north, because the worst that can happen is your character dies. But if you have no gear and you're a Bambi, you're not losing anything. If you think you're worried about dying, then wait till you have night vision on you and a fishing pole and some hard to get items. Then you'll really be sweating losing all your gear. See, that's one thing as a Bambi, you have nothing to lose as a new player, or the least amount to lose. So what I like to do is I like to run below this hill, especially if you're on a player versus player server, and there's a nice little gully that runs up here that sort of feeds right in here. So if you run down below, you won't aggro the zombies. You won't aggro AI that may be patrolling the town. And I'm pretty sure this server doesn't have AI. We'll get into that later, because there will be AI patrolling in that town, walking around. So you definitely want to keep a couple 100 meters away from them. And what I'm doing right now, if you're wondering about these visuals, a lot of guys will hit 7, 9 to look around, over here. I always hated that. I do it when I need to, real quick. But what I do is I just sort of, I have the W key down. I hit the A key and move my mouse, sweep it to the right, and then WD and sweep it to my left. It's a lot easier on my eyes than that snapshot. They're going to change that in the future, I have no doubt, because it's not correct in gaming. It may help you, but it's not correct. If they talk to any eye doctor, they'll see the way the eyes and the brain work and it takes in pictures is your neck, and your eyes and your head almost work as a shock absorber, to where you'll turn quick and then it will speed up and then it'll slow down. And I think if they, because this can give you a real headache being online for about 4 hours, they're going to start talking to eye doctors to take care of that. But if you pop up over the back of that hill, you're going to see that there's a log brown home back here. Very easy to get into, real quiet. And you come in along this wall here, and here's the well. So you don't have to go through this whole entire town to get to it. But this is Kozlovka. So I'll show you on the town here where we ran. Ran from Cherno, hit this road at the power station right here. You can see the power station. And just stayed on that road. Now is where we're going to make our first big change, and we're going to turn north to go over top of this big ridge that runs right here. It's a big ridge. You'll see Green Mountain here. There's a spire at Green Mountain. We're going to run up over top of this ridge, and then we'll see the valley down below. But you can sneak in, sneak out. And back right down out of town. So that's a good way. There's food and drink in there. Oh, you want? I want to check one thing before we go, because we're running. Oh, we're not that close to the mission. Okay. On some servers, you want to keep checking to see where we're at, because new missions will pop in and out all the time. So once you come out of town, you have to take a right. Anywhere from there all along that ridge to there. Anytime in that 3,000 feet. Some hay bales over there. There's a barn right behind those trees there. There'll be a lot of barns along the way. One of the additions that they're making to Dayz now, and this is the reason it keeps improving little by little, and it'll always have improvements, is some of these street lights that are in these towns are being turned on now. They used to never be able to turn the street lights on. Now they're able to go through and turn them on 1, 2, 3 at a time in each town. So they get a half dozen in each town. So they're actually, you can see by street light now. So you're going to come up here and you're going to see Green Mountain Tower. It's a red and white striped tower if it's a clear day. And you want to keep that on one side and this entire ridge on the other side. It couldn't be any simpler. You're just going up over the hill. We're going to use our rearview mirrors here to see this zombie. And you can see him following me now. He's tearing after me. And this isn't just a zombie that's just, oh, I'm going to lumber right along. I mean, he's ripping right after me and I'm running full speed. but it's not worth a broken leg or an infection or anything like that to mess with them. So since there is no reason to mess with them, I'm not going to. Now this steep walk has slowed my character down, so let's check and see. Now he's going to come up close to me, stop, close to me and stop. And that's because I'm constantly moving, so now he's got to judge where I'm at. For some reason they just don't strike right there. So I can turn a little bit where I'm not going up such an incline. And hopefully lose them. Right there I lost them. Just that little turn. You can run into a thick pine tree like this one and just wait and lose them. What that is your character can run full speed like this until it gets to an area that's over, I think it's 56 degrees of an incline. And then it goes into this shuffle mode there. So by turning and zigzagging up the mountain, you're actually changing the incline. So there's the red and white tower at Green Mountain. Doesn't have a light on top, but you'll still be able to see it at night sticking up there in the sky, even if it's pretty darn dark and rainy outside. And it's hard to go wrong on this ridge. Pop over anywhere in 3,000 meters wide on this ridge and you're doing just fine. And you're going to come down into this valley here. There's one greenhouse there, a few small houses. That's okay. Don't worry about the particulars. You just want to keep running in that northern general direction. Now this is rare for this server, but I guess we could go take a look at the heli crash. But the reason this ridge is important is it's what I call the land, the magical land. It's the land of the heli crashes. Meaning you're in an area of the map, you're just starting, and we're not that far from Cherno. But once you get up around Green Mountain, Pulkovo is a small group of houses, but Porogovo. So where my red line is at right now, and let me see if I can do this a little bit better here. We just ran from Cherno up to here. So we're about halfway to the northwest airfield. Once you get past Green Mountain and this town of Vishnoi, you're going to start seeing the famous helicopter crashes more and more. I just want to check out, there is, and we're going to come down here, we're going to press P, see how many other players are online. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm one of them. So there's 11 other players. I want to make sure no one else is here. We're out in the open. I lost track of it. And these could or could not have fire. Some are just smoke, some are fire. I want to make sure that there's no one up there looting. So let me show you how to approach this. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a new guy on here. I should have to respond to him. It's very funny. There's a couple different ways to approach this. The new guy is saying, hey, did someone hear that? Let this guy come to you. Use what you know already. Backing, backing, backing. Kill him, search, done. Now, instead of 5, you're only dealing with 4. So you see those 3 over there? Now what you're going to do is you're going to separate these guys out. We're going to use this same technique, a couple proven technique like this. to handle our missions, because when you go up against 20 well-armed AI shooting at you, I thought I heard something to my right. A good pair of surround sound headphones really helps in this game. Now here's a DMR mag. Don't need that right now, but it also works in the M24. So just to prevent these guys from coming back on me and giving me a headache later, I'm going to hit them now. And you don't have to kill all of them. This guy could wander out another 100 meters. Okay. So now it belongs to us now, and we really don't have to worry about getting so entranced in what we're doing that they're going to come up behind us or making too much noise. But I do want to get in and get out of here. So we're on hard packed gravel a little bit, looking mostly with my eyes. Don't want to spend too much time out here. Wow, just nothing here. So there's an M24 round. We'll take it. Snack cream cake. Something I thought I saw over here. Yep. So there's a little PDW pistol. MP5 with one clip. No, an AKS 47. So this has already been picked through. So there's no sense spending any more time on it. Usually they don't have anything if you crawl up into the helicopter, but you can if you need to for self-defense or something. So I'm going to take you into this town, Porogovo. This server I'm on right now is a lot sharper on the picture, the image quality, than another two I've been playing. The other two, for some reason, I still haven't figured that out. Some you can see better than others. I don't know why that is, whether it has something to do with their server, because I still have the same equipment that I've always had. I didn't change my computer or video card or my video settings besides adjusting brightness and gamma. And there are a lot of people online, so that one you'll just have to see as you go. Which ones you like, which ones render in better. But there's a well right here on your run north. There's another one in the front of the church right up there in Porogovo. So you got to remember, there's the spire at Green Mountain. So we're just running over that one big ridge behind us. I don't have to stop, but just keep coming, keep coming. I really don't even need to loot these guys. I got so much loot on this server, it's not even funny. I could outfit about 24 new players. So anyway, I didn't get to capture it on videotape, but what they're talking about in a side chat down there is one of the new guys was saying, "Oh my gosh, did you guys hear that? Did you hear it?" Because he wanted to know if everybody was hearing it on the server or it was just him. And it was the church bells in Cherno. He was just hearing them for the first time. There's a lot of churches, and you can see the sunshine in the afternoon coming off them gold spires right there. And you will see the same thing. It's one of the first things you pick up in the moonlight, too. So we're just using our landmarks. We ran over one ridge. A spire, the church of Porogovo, And then Rogovo is down over there. It has its own well. Excuse me. So we're staying in the open here. And we're still running north. It should be about dead west right there, and you kind of get used to it. The amazing thing about this, and I've probably said this before, this is virtual reality. This is a virtual world. It's animated. But it is shocking to me that even in an animated, made-up cartoon virtual world, you can still tell the difference in the lighting between whether it's early morning or late afternoon. And it's late afternoon. Just has that feel to it. So this right here is not due west, but close enough. We're pointing right up here to Patoshka from this area. So it's not exactly west. West would be 270, but we're a little off. So that's fine. But you can zigzag back and forth in here all you want. But stay into the open fields and you'll be up north before you know it. And I usually don't worry too much. I mean, it would be, I ran this route probably well in excess of 500 times. I enjoy running rather than finding a car. I've owned 4, 5, 6 vehicles in the game, and they still tease me because I'll go running. Well, this young kid who heard the church bells in Cherno for his very first time and got scared is now hiding in a house, and he's too afraid to come out. He's got about 45 minutes, and it's going to be dark. Then he's going to be really afraid to come out. So since it's nighttime, I'm going to have to check that out. I'll keep my eye on the side chat down there. But I may have to go just take a run down there. I'm not doing anything anyway except making videos. Well, I'll see. I might take some time and run down there and help him out. Now, when you get up here, you're going to see this range of mountains on the top here. That one, there's a couple that are pretty pointy. But this one that has this sharp triangle point to it, this is Resnick Hill. I'll take you over there. We're just down into this flat, sort of breaking out into this farmland. But on Resnick Hill, it is loaded with the pine trees. And you see that hill right there, the pointed one, on the horizon, if you can see it at night or in low light situation. That points right towards the Northwest Airfield. So I'm going to cut this videotape right now. I'm not even sure how far along we are as far as time-wise go. I had so many stops and restarts. I'm going to have to clip a lot of this together after losing internet connection about 4 times. And in this field right here, you'll notice is all hard packed. Let me hide behind the hay bale right here. When you get to here, this is why you got to use landmarks. When you get here, look at where we're at. See this tan spot on here? you have your forested part in green, and then the hard packs are all in tan. There's one right here, and there's this one right here. So even without any towns marked or me knowing any names, you can tell where you're at on the map. We're just going to head towards that point up there. Pointed hill. Resnick, you can just see a rock with a deer stand on the edge. There's deer stands all along the way. They usually don't have very good gear. Oh, this guy is following me from a long ways away. And it's kind of unknown. Now somebody else is asking how do they kill themselves. They don't want to be in the game anymore. They just, oh, I'm done with this. And it's so sad. So here's a goat here. I don't know if that's another. Yeah, that's another heli crash right there that we didn't see before. I call them the blooming trees. Looks like a tree that's just flower that's coming into bloom. You see how it's kind of radiating out there. Even in the pitch of night, you can see that all the pitch black at night, all the trees are pretty static as far as their color changes and everything. They're changing as I'm running towards them. But that you have the smoke bloom or smoke plume, whatever you want to call it, is coming out of there. So we're going to jog over there. And I'll finish this trip later on. I might get in the side chat here and help these guys out a little bit.